The new season for the Actors Shakespeare Project will have 3 plays by its namesake, but it will make an entrance September 15th with an absurdist farce, Ionesco's Exit the King. To tell us about this year's lineup is the project's new artistic director, Christopher Edwards. Thank you very much for being with us, Christopher.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, for people who aren't familiar with this already, what got this company started?
Well, as I understand it, about 13, 14 years ago, a group of actors in the city got together. They were working regularly around town and wanted to do more Shakespeare, wanted to do more classics. They weren't getting that type of work in the city, and they got together and sort of grassroots, started from the bottom, did the acting, did the directing, designed, did all the administration, and grew the company from the bottom up. And so here we are 14 years later, and a lot of people in Boston know the company, and it's well respected.
Well, the lineup this year, you've got 4 plays, we've got 2 tragedies sandwiched by 2 comedies, I guess. Start with the tragedies, because I think some people would know these plays.
So Julius Caesar, which we will be doing at Studio 210 at the Huntington, directed by Bryn Boyce, is going to be an all-female telling of the story, and sort of a parallel universe where women hold the power, and how the politics and the idea of fixing a society by assassinating its leader sort of comes to a head. So that's the first tragedy we're doing. Then we're going to be doing Richard III, and that's going to be in February 7th to March 11th, and the venue is TBA. We're looking for a venue right now that really lends itself to the energy of the play. So that's that old favorite, the sort of amazing Machiavellian character of Richard that you sort of watch and hate the fact that you're completely and utterly loving what he's doing in the play. So we'll be doing that one in February.
Well, we're living in what some people might think of as authoritarian times, with an authoritarian flu going around the world here. It's like Rhinoceros by Ionesco, but you're doing another play by him. It's called Exit the King. Exit the
King, about a king who, basically the whole play is in the title. Exit the King is about a king who comes on and is told he is dying, and he is denying the fact that he's dying and that his kingdom is crumbling, and he sort of is working through how he can hold on to life while his 2 wives, the older queen and the newer queen, give him sort of juxtaposing points of view about what his life has been. One who's sort of propaganda heavy and how wonderful he is, and the other one that's a little more truthful about the hot mess that he has been as a ruler. Someone who, I think one of the things they talk about, euthanizes sick children. So it's a comedy, but it's got some dark undertones. And it was written by Ionesco in the 60s as possibly a comment on who he was and what his personality was. But also, I think authoritarianism was running rampant in the 60s as well.
And he experienced it in the 1930s in Romania with the fascism there too.
Right, yeah. So there's a bunch of that stuff going on. And even though, as I understand, Ionesco claimed to not be a political writer, that somehow art was above it all, that we in the theater or we in the arts should be above falling into political traps and putting that in our work. It's hard not to look at this play and see some parallels with where we are today in our country.
Well, you can also see the French side of him, going back to Moliere. But one thing he said about comedy, he said, comedy restores our serenity. Does that happen in this play?
I think it does, actually, because it allows, at the end of the play, for there to be, I guess what I would call breath. That there can be breath, that now, once you breathe, a terrible thing happens. Once you breathe, then and only then can you move on to the next sort of moment or the next beat in life. And I think that does happen in the play, that it allows people to take it in a different way.
And finally, at the end of the program for this season here, you've got a Shakespearean comedy. Yes,
Much Ado About Nothing, which I will be directing. It'll be my first show with the company. And I'm in early conversations around what we're going to do, but we're really going to look at gender and sexuality and how that plays out with the idea of the military and the idea of spin and how people's lives can be changed based on a statement that one person makes, whether that's in the media or in interpersonal relationships. So we're gonna look at that and really focus on gender in that as well.
We should mention finally the opening of the season on the 15th, and you've got the website with some more
Yes,
information.
www.actorshakespeareproject.org.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Christopher Edwards from the Actors Shakespeare Project.